Hey yo, what's poppin', man? I gotta be careful when I when I hit my desk because I'm afraid I may disconnect my microphone and then you'll be hearing static for the next 24 minutes and I'll have to re-record it like 6 times over. But just a quick mic check with my finger. Pause. Alright, that's good. I fingered my mic successfully. What's good, man? Welcome back to the 3rd episode, guys. So today, I know you guys are super hyped for this one. The introduction to storyline. Okay, so today in this video we're going to be talking about how you can identify the start and the potential end of the storyline. The reason why I use the word potential is because, like everything in life, there's nothing that is 100% certain, except for mathematics, which is why I love mathematics. I don't know why I said that. Anyway, so yeah, how to identify the start and the potential end of a storyline, or you could say the potential start and the potential end of the storyline, because none of this stuff is actually certain, and it's very important that I be responsible when I'm conveying this message to you guys, because I don't want you to think that it's all just, you know what I mean, what's that phrase they use, honey and roses or something like that. I don't know, man, what it is, but it's like, it's not just all guns and roses, man. I don't know the phrase, but let's get into this, bro. Okay, I'm tired, man. What's the time right now? 2 a.m. I got my chai. Yes, I do have my chai this time. That's why I'm up at 2 a.m. doing this shit. But anyway, into the storyline. How do we work this thing? Okay, what is a storyline? First of all, storyline is incredibly simple, bro. All right, it's simply the movement between one point to another, or to a potential other. Because the reason why we use the word potential, it's very important that you guys listen to me when I say this. The reason why we use words like potential is because we don't actually know for 100% certain whether price is going to turn in this area or not. We have a very, very good speculation that we can make based on probability, but if someone were to say, Avi, can you confirm this is where price will turn? Not a single trader, not a single retail trader such as myself, right, can actually tell you that for 100% certainty. If you're wondering, a great test would be this: bet your entire life savings on a price turn. And if it's successful, then that's the person that, you know what I mean, probably works with the banks. But anyway, how does this work? So we have ourselves 2 time frames. Now we're always dealing with 2 time frames. It's very important that you guys understand this, and I will reiterate this in the following videos for storyline understanding series. Okay, so it's very important that you understand this, even though you may be an intraday trader. Okay, so if you're an intraday trader, what are the time frames that you're messing with? You're messing with daily. When you're an intraday trader, you're messing with dailies, you're entering on H4s, things like that. Okay, when you are a swing trader such as myself, I enjoy swing trading, you would be messing around with what? You would be messing around mostly with weeklies, monthlies, okay, mostly weeklies. Did you know the common relationship, the common correlation between intraday traders, swing traders, position traders, regardless whether you're messing around with the daily, messing around with the weekly? The common theme is this: a good quality intraday trader still keeps in the back of their mind what the weekly is doing and what the monthly is doing. You may be wondering, but why? I'm an intraday trader. All I should be messing about with is the daily. Yes, you're right. You're only paying attention to the daily in terms of your entries and rejection specifics, which will come up in the next video, right? However, you still need to keep in the back of your mind what the other time frames are doing. And trust me, guys, it's not like you need to do every time frame, because there are only 3 time frames that you need to bother about the storyline for. You only need to bother about the daily storyline, you only need to bother about the weekly storyline, you only need to bother about the monthly storyline. And here's a little trick: if you know the monthly storyline and you're a swing trader such as myself, you don't necessarily have to put too much emphasis on the daily, because the weekly will be the imperative time frame for your monthly movements. Okay, a simple cheat code for you guys. You can go ahead and write this down. Whenever we're dealing with support and resistance, we're always dealing with 1 time frame below. So let's assume that we're dealing with the monthly storyline, correct? Now, it's a bit of a funny thing when I mention monthly storylines, because most people don't utilize monthly storylines to its full extent, but it's still important for you guys to know this. But let's assume that we're talking about the monthly storyline. As rare as it may be for a trader to bother too much about the monthly story, let's say we're talking about it. We're going to be dealing with weekly entry points. Or when I say entry points, I don't mean that's where you enter. No, I'm talking about entry points in the sense of significant zones. So now, let me give you exactly what I'm trying to say. So let's say we're dealing with something more common. Something more commonly used by traders would be the daily, would be the weekly. So let's talk about weekly. Okay, so when it comes to weekly, let's assume price, okay, forget about this. Let's assume price is heading up here, okay? And this is what is this area that we're dealing with right here? And don't worry, I'll give you guys plenty of examples. This will be an incredibly long video, but it'll be an incredibly informative video as well. This is going to be the weekly. Okay, this is a weekly. Let's say it's like this. Let's assume it's a weekly like let's say it's weekly like this. Like we've always used this example. It could be even this one. Who knows, right? Okay, now this is where you'll be learning things about like how do I validate a storyline? What is this rejection BS? You know, this is where you'll be learning about that stuff. Okay, so how long are we? We're 5 minutes. I gotta buck up. Okay, so let's say it's something like this even, right? How do we know that? How can I say, okay, look, this is the deal right now, okay? As of right here, this is a weekly bearish storyline. See how I can just say that immediately? This is how I've come to that conclusion. So when price reaches a weekly fresh support and resistance level, so in this case is what? Weekly resistance, correct? Here is the first thing that you'll be observing. So first of all, you need to understand, what is the time frame you're on? This is a very first question you need to ask for. You guys need to be writing this down. First thing, okay? What time frame is this? What is this time frame? It's the first question you need to understand. Okay, so in this case, it's weekly. Correct? Am I right? We're dealing with the weekly in this little example, right? Second thing we need to understand, we need a weekly reject weekly, and I'll give you an example of what that looks like. Hold on, this is where it gets finicky for you guys, but it's so simple. Second thing is this: has it rejected? So has this time frame? That's better. Has this time frame rejected the zone? We'll say, because I'm trying to be specific with you guys, right? So in this, okay, has this time frame rejected the zone? What is this time frame? This time frame is weekly, correct? Okay, number 3, has, or we could say, is there a breakout one time frame below? Is there a breakout one time frame below? So this is what I mean. If you guys look back at AKFX, my Telegram channel, link in description section below. If you guys haven't already followed me on Telegram, I've talked about this months ago. Okay, let's assume we're dealing with weekly. Don't worry. Oh, but Avi, you said we also have to keep in mind about monthly. Yes, you can apply this to every time frame, monthly all the way down. But first of all, it's monthly, weekly, daily. Those are the time frames I mess about with. Okay, so listen. Weekly, there is a weekly resistance. Okay. Picture this in your head, and then I'll show you the example. This is how I learn, guys. Maybe it doesn't work for you. This is how I learn. Picture it in your head first. Maybe play my voice down in a slower speed. Picture it in your head, and then when I show you guys the example, it's like a revision for you guys. Okay, so let me get to the point. First of all, we're dealing with a weekly resistance. Can everyone imagine any weekly resistance? It could be an open close from the previous video I thought you guys. It could be a weekly buy candle, sell candle, something like that. It could be a weekly left shoulder, right? It could be a weekly support break become resistance. Think of a weekly resistance in your head, fresh. Do you see it? It could be whatever it could be. It could be an apex, left shoulder, SBR. Just think of a weekly resistance. Okay, now price is going up, going up, going up, going up. It touches this weekly resistance that we're talking about, right? And it rejects. Okay, what is a rejection? What's the definition of a rejection? Can anyone tell me the definition of a rejection? Okay, definition of a rejection. So let's say we're on the weekly, right? Candle body closes below zone. Simple. So we're talking about a rejection of resistance, right? So this is a resistance example. Okay, so let me give you an example. Rejection. Candle body closes below the zone. So let's give you an example of this. Okay, here's one I can give you right now. See how the body, look at the body. These are wicks, correct? These are wicks. Simple OHLC understanding. Okay, these are wicks. The price can go as deep as it wants. It can go all the way up here. Doesn't matter. But does the body close below? Yes, it has. Has it closed? Yes, it has. Absolutely has. It's closed. Okay, we've rejected. What is this called? What is this called? Weekly reject weekly. Doesn't matter if it's a left shoulder, SBR, open close, apex. Doesn't matter. Or point of origin, whatever BS you want to call this. It's rejected one of our resistance zones. It's rejected. Okay, so let's look at our questionnaire right here. This little questionnaire we got over here, right? What is this time frame? So what is the storyline we're dealing with, right? So when people say, "Oh, Avi, what's the weekly storyline in your view?" This is what I say. Oh, you're dealing with the weekly? Okay, so that's my first answer checked off. What is the time frame this guy's asking me about? This guy's asking me about the weekly. Okay, so we're on the weekly. Now this guy has told me, Avi, what's the time frame from this example? Don't worry about right here. I'll give you an example of what I mean by right here. Just a second. Okay. So we've answered the first question. What is the time frame for the storyline that we're dealing with? Because with storyline, it could be daily, weekly, monthly. So what's the time frame? Weekly. Okay. Second question. Has this time frame rejected the zone? Now, this sounds like a bunch of what the F is going on, right? Excuse my language. Okay? But here's the deal. When we're dealing with a weekly storyline, we are dealing with, we must have weekly rejection. When you are dealing with a weekly storyline, you must be dealing with a weekly rejection. We must be dealing with a rejection. Very simple. Okay, now let me ask you a question. Let's bend your mind a little bit. Let's exercise those thoughts, right? When we're dealing with a daily storyline, can you give me the answer? When you're dealing with daily, so let's assume this is a daily. Let's assume we're on the daily. We have a left shoulder, we have an apex. Let's just say we're just dealing with these two things. Maybe you've written it down in your plan. Okay, I've tried SBRs. SBRs often fail. It often goes to the apex or it often goes to the left shoulder. So you've written that down. You've completely thrown away SBRs. No problem. So you want to deal with just the left shoulder. Okay, that's up to you. I'm here to teach you everything. That's up to you. Let's say this is a daily left shoulder. What do we want to see here? When dealing with a daily storyline, what do we need to do? We need to look for a daily rejection. Okay, guys? Very, very simple. It's the same thing with the weekly. If I see this weekly left shoulder, I'm not going to go to the monthly and look for a rejection. Similarly, if I see this weekly left shoulder, I'm not going to go to the daily and look for a rejection. No, if I'm going to say, oh, but Avi, look, it also rejected this daily, then that's not a weekly that we're dealing with. That is a daily we're dealing with, right? So look, and this is going to be a brilliant example for later. But anyway, on how to enter early. So let's say we don't want to wait for the weekly reject weekly. We want to just enter one earlier. How we can do that? Anyway, we have this daily. So now let's say it's a daily. Okay, what's the time frame we're dealing with? Avi, what's the storyline over here, man? Right? I see it's rejected. What's the storyline? First of all, what's the time frame you're dealing with? Oh, you're dealing with daily? Okay, cool. So there's a daily resistance, and we can see that price yesterday. So let's assume price is like this right now, right? Market's just open. It's rejected something, Avi, and it moved real big. I wasn't paying attention. Daily rejected this daily. Why rejection? Because the body closed. Body touched it. It delivered to that price, but it closed below. Oh, damn. Right? It closed below. Okay, cool. That's a rejection. So we're dealing with the daily. Has this time frame rejected the zone? Yes, it has. Okay, so that's one. That's two done. Is there a breakout? One time frame below. So just now we're dealing with the weekly. We'll be looking for daily breakouts. Now we're dealing with the daily in this example that I'm giving you right now because I want your minds to expand. Now we're dealing with one time frame below. What are we going to go to? H4. We're going to say, oh, is there a breakout? Okay. We're going to say, well, there's one right here. We can see there's already a breakout. Buy, sell, creates a resistance breaks. This is how the creation of a left shoulder is formed, by the way. Buy, sell, resistance breaks, becomes support breaks again. That becomes a left shoulder, SBR, apex. Don't believe me? Look at your line chart. Isn't that a QM formation? Left shoulder, SBR, apex. So answer the question. Daily reject daily, yes. Okay, for what time frame we're dealing with? We're dealing with daily storyline. Okay, daily reject daily, yes. First thing done. Third thing, is there a breakout one time frame below? Yes, absolutely, is a breakout one time frame below. So there she goes. That is going to be your confirmation of the storyline. That's it. That's it for your confirmation of a storyline. Again, when I say confirmation, I must be responsible and tell you that just because it has done these standard operating procedures does not mean that it's actually going to deliver the way you speculated to. Mistakes can happen, errors can happen, things can look beautiful, but it may still go to shit. Excuse my French. It may still go badly for you, right? That's just the game of probabilities. So let's go back to our example of the weekly real quick, shall we? Okay, so look, we picked this line, we've noticed, so let's say we went on vacation, we come back, we say, holy shit, what a movement this was, weekly reject weekly. Wow, okay, right? What are we gonna say? What time frame are we dealing with right now? Weekly, right? Left shoulder, weekly rejected the weekly. Has it rejected? Yes. So 1, 2 is done already. 3. Is there a breakout one time frame below? So let's go one time frame below. What's one time frame below weekly? Daily. Boom. Go to daily. Is there a breakout? Oh yes, there is a breakout. You want an even more obvious thing? Go to line chart. Oh, okay, there's a breakout. Right? The issue with the line chart that I see for beginners is that you don't know whether this is going to be the breakout point or this is going to be the breakout point, which is exactly why I like to use where was the traditional SNR that broke. That's it. Isn't this traditional SNR? Yes. Sell, buy. What's that? Support. Support gets broken. That's it. Here, the reason why on the line chart there's a bend is because there's an open close SNR, which is a form of SNR. And when that open close SNR breaks, especially on a higher time frame, it will cause a bend in the line chart. Because as I said, it's still a valid form of supportive resistance. So this, let's assume price was right here, right? Let's assume price is right here. Okay, now I'm gonna give you an example after this, and it's gonna be like holy shit. Okay, now check this out. What is the time frame right now? If you were to ask me what is this story on, man, it's like I'm at this kind of star pattern looking like thing over here, right, on this week, Monday 6th February 2023, right? What was the storyline? I'll say, oh, look at this previous week. The previous week, what did it reject? The previous week rejected. Are you guys listening to what I've just said? What has the previous week done? Previous week has rejected this little thing over here. What's that? That's a fresh left shoulder. Okay, so this weekly rejected weekly. Let me go check one time frame below. Ah, we broke out. Okay, so now what do we do? So now we know. Avi said this is the SOP for a storyline. Okay, now what do we do when it comes to what are the areas I'm going to pay attention to for entries, right? Oh, I made the tea beautiful today. I think I made it a little bit light though. I think it's a little bit light. It ain't strong like I usually make it. Anyway, okay, weekly reject weekly, daily breakout, correct? Now here's the thing. Okay, if you answer yes to all of these, so let's say it's a weekly, and yes, weekly has rejected weekly, and yes, there's a breakout one time frame below. Right, number 4 is, did I spell that right? Significant, excuse me, significant zone will be on, so you can just say, save some time to be on, daily. That's it, daily fresh, daily fresh. Now this daily fresh, what does this mean? What does this sentence here mean, or this little phrase here mean? Significant zone is going to be daily fresh. Now, an easier way for us to say this is to time frame below. Okay? Significant zone equals one time frame below. Now we're dealing with a weekly storyline. It sounds like it's confusing, guys, but it's so easy. Listen. Delete all. No, I'm not gonna delete this. I'm just gonna copy this, right? Okay, look. Weekly bearish storyline. Now, do you know how a weekly bearish storyline comes about? If I ask you this question and you say, Avi, I don't know, you didn't teach me, I'm gonna slap you. I'm gonna e-slap you. Have you heard of an e-slap? Right? Look, this is how you conclude a weekly bearish storyline. Vice versa for bullish. We'll do some bullish examples soon. Okay? What is the time frame? We're dealing with weekly, so now we know we're dealing with a weekly storyline. We don't even need this to be a step. It's common sense. It's logic. It's number 2. Has this time frame rejected the zone? Now we're dealing with weekly bearish storyline. Has there been a weekly reject weekly of that fresh zone? Yes, there has been. See, over here on the weekly, we've done that. Is there a breakout one time frame below? Yes, there's a daily breakout, right? So the significant zone that we're going to be looking for our entries from will be one time frame below. Okay, weekly bearish. So now we know we have our weekly bearish storyline. How do we enter? How do we make use of this knowledge? Weekly bearish storyline, right? Significant zone. So pay attention to daily sell zones. Now these sell zones can be what? They can be any type of SNR. Any type of SNR. They can be open close. They can be left shoulders. They can be SBRs. You know, things like this. It could be things like this, right? And it comes up, and this is the daily we're dealing with. It could be over here, right? Things like that. It could be a left shoulder. So for example, price is done maybe something like this, right? Over here, for example, right? Price can come up and just tap it. It could be any one of these, this, right? Boom, comes up. So whatever, it can be any one of these things. Okay, so here's the deal though, right? We now know we can look for entries on the daily sell zones. The daily serves 2 purposes in a weekly bearish storyline. So if we're dealing with weekly, we look one time frame below. So look at this. So check this out. This, I'm literally writing you guys' notes for you. When dealing with weekly bearish storyline, right? Daily will pay attention to daily for entries and obstacles. Does that make any sense? Pay attention to daily for entries and obstacles. And right, normally, right, when dealing with monthly bearish storyline, what do you think we're going to do? Okay, now hold on. I'm going to take a big sip of my chai, and I want you guys to answer this question. I want you guys to answer this freaking question. We're dealing with monthly bearish storyline, what we're going to do. Okay? I'm gonna leave that here. And number 3, I'm gonna ask you this as well. Think of it. Okay, what are we gonna do? Think about that real quick. What are we paying attention to? I'm gonna take a big sip of my chai, and I swear to God, you guys better understand this shit. Okay, so we know base, it's fractal. Everything works fractally. Okay, so when dealing with a weekly bearish storyline, you're paying attention to one time frame below for entries and for obstacles. Because look, you're trying to enter, and then you're trying to wonder, okay, I've entered my trade now. Where do I need to be worried about? Correct? So that's your obstacle. What you need to be worried about is your obstacle. So I'm telling you, pay attention one time frame below. When dealing with monthly bearish storyline, pay attention to weekly for entries and obstacles. You see, one time frame below monthly is weekly. Same thing for daily. What are you going to look at? H4 for entries and obstacles. Now, I do not want to talk too much about the daily storyline because there are a lot of intricacies that you can use the daily storyline for. It's not difficult. It's a bit too much for now. But it's a beautiful time frame to stack entries based on monthly, weekly bearish storylines, monthly, weekly bullish storylines. And I'll teach you guys that soon, don't worry. So write this down. When dealing with the weekly, I think the most flexible time frame for you to deal with would have to be the weekly, and keep in mind your monthly, right? So when dealing with your weekly bearish storyline, pay attention to the daily for entries and obstacles. One time frame below is where you will find your entries and where you will find, oh no, I should be worried about X, Y, Z, right? One time frame below. Okay, so let's see for this case. Okay, so okay, now okay, so this was the example I wanted to give you guys. So check this out. Okay, I'm gonna leave that there. I'm gonna delete this. Check this out. Remember open close from the previous video I taught you guys, right? Okay, check this out. If you were to ask me, Avi, what is the storyline right now as we speak? Right now as we speak, what is the storyline? I'll tell you what the storyline is. Okay, look. Okay, first let me tell you what the storyline is. The storyline is weekly bullish. Now I've told you my storyline, right? I want you guys to look at this chart. Okay? Look at this. I'm giving you a hint. This is going to be so fun for you guys. If you say I'm wasting time, I swear I'm going to kick you this time. Right? I've been doing martial arts recently. I'll give you a mean kick. All right? Now listen, okay? Jokes aside. Look at this. I'm giving you a hint, and I want you guys to tell me how I came to the conclusion that that right now, as we speak, we're in a weekly bullish storyline. I want you guys to think about how I came to that conclusion. Okay? Look to your left. What's the first thing you got to deal with? We're dealing with the weekly. Okay, we've answered number 1. Number 2, has this time frame rejected the zone? Think about it. What zones could there be? Now, this zone. Now, before I haven't even taken a sip of my chai. That's how much I'm sacrificing for you guys, right? Think about this. This zone is based on the second video that I've uploaded, the video before this. And I stubbed my left pinky toe on a piece of furniture downstairs, and I was like kind of jogging to go get my chai. Freaking feels like I broke something, bro. I didn't actually break something. I'd be crying on the floor if I did. My freaking tendon, bro, is like, you know what I mean? It's like a hyperextended sort of, you know. Think about the zone. Look to your left. Think about what zone it could be. You're thinking, oh man, but it didn't reach this zone. Oh man, it didn't reach that zone. Pay attention now. Think about OHLC flips. All right, that's all I'm giving you, man. Chai is beautiful, man. A gift from God, you could say. All right, thought about it. Hope you've thought about it. Okay, you interested to know? It's right here, my friends. Avi, what the hell is that? Listen, bruv. Sell. Kissing candles. What's this? Resistance. Correct? Resistance, right? Is resistance based on the OHLC. Doesn't matter if this is a high probability resistance or whatever. Is this a form of SNR? Yes, it's a form of SNR because I told you OHLC. Now this resistance, did it get broken through? Yes, it got broken through. After it got broken through, did it ever touch again? No. But here she comes down and touches. See this first week. Let's go and look what happened. Weekly reject weekly. Weekly reject weekly is not enough, my friends, brothers and sisters. Weekly reject weekly is not enough. We need that one time frame below breakout. Remember? Is there a breakout one time frame below? Let's go find out. This was the week end, if I'm not wrong. Right here. It just blatantly just ended here. That's it. Point blank period. That's it. You didn't do anything on the daily, right? Now let's look at the next week. See, this is when you start being flexible. Okay? So the first week came down. The first week came down, touched this resistance area, rejected it too. Look, it delivered, rejected, but on the daily there was nothing. Okay, so if I were to bring up a horizontal line, you'll see I'm not lying. Not a horizontal line, a vertical line, excuse me. You'll see I'm not lying. Okay, the line denotes the start of the next week. I just want to put that out there. Okay, what is this? Hold on. Okay, this is when the next week starts. See, I'm not lying to you guys, right? Okay, cool. The daily one more time. So this is when that previous week, remember the first touch? Remember I talked to you guys about the first touch, right? It touched over here. It never broke out on the daily. But in the following week, see, this is that next week's candle, right? The next week, boom, she goes. Is this the breakout here? No, this right here she breaks out. Okay, right here she breaks out. So what are we dealing with this here? Weekly rejected weekly. And is there a breakout one time frame below? Yes, there is. This is that one time frame below. This is the daily. There's absolutely a breakout. Now you guys have asked me this question. I'm not sure whether I actually included this in the first video or not. You guys were asking, Avi, does it matter if weekly rejects weekly, right? On the candle that it rejects. So the candle it rejects, as a result of that rejection, rejection, we have a daily breakout, right? Is that the only setup we use? Or could it be where the first candle touches, doesn't have any breakout on the lower time frame as a result of the rejection? You see, this one rejects, but as a result of the rejection, there was nothing on the daily that happened. But in the following week, right? So through the process, you could say, during the process, there eventually gets to be a daily breakout. Which one will you use? Is there one that you don't use, etc.? Here is the deal. For me, personally, my preferred setup is when we have weekly rejects. Let's say weekly, we're dealing with weekly this whole time, right? It's fractals, the same thing with other time frames. When we have weekly reject weekly, on the candle, the first candle that touches, see, first candle that touches, on the first candle that touches, once, see, we touch, we reject, we close, correct? We close, correct? As a result of that closure, we have a daily breakout. That is my most preferred setup. Listen to my words. Most preferred setup. Okay? Same deal with for example, this right here. See? Candle comes up, right? In fact, this passes the line, no problem, absolutely no problem, right? But the body closes below. So now we are in this week. See my hand. We're in this week, my E hand, they call it. This week. I look back at the previous week. As a result of that rejection in the previous week, did we have, as a result of that rejection, a breakout? Yes, we absolutely did. Buy, sell, resistance breaks. Oh, look like it could be a left shoulder breaks. I mean, the resistance becomes support breaks. We have ourselves a support break become resistance, right? This is a support. Sell, buy, support. Buy, sell, resistance, breaks up, breaks back down, left shoulder, apex. Right? Don't believe me? Check the line chart. See? It's over. You get the point, right? So, you get the point. Okay? This is my most preferred setup. But let's say we have what we have right here. Right here, we have a weekly reject weekly, daily, nothing happens here. The next week, we come back down, in fact, for an even deeper touch, okay? And during that process, we have ourselves the breakout. That's still valid. Is it my most preferred setup? No. No, it's not, but it's still valid. It's still a part of the storyline. So let's really break this bit down, okay? Resistance, breaks, right? Straight candle up, breaks, comes back, gets revisited. Now over here we reject, we reject, right? We open here in the week, quite a low opening, touch, boom, we go up. Okay, we never broke this. We rejected it. As a result, now you see in here, now we're on this third week now. We look on this third week, we look at the previous week. Okay, we touched. As a result of this touch, let me go bring my vertical line up again so you guys know I'm not cheating y'all. As a result of this closure, right, rejection and closure, was there a daily breakout? Yes, there was. As a result of it, yes, there was. Absolutely there was. right? And what did that create? That created, you guys should already know how to mark these properly. I'm just going to draw this just for the fun of it, right? You can draw it like that, you can draw it like this, it doesn't matter. Your support is right here. Sell buy right here. Okay? That's going to be your area of interest. Okay? This area here, this sell, open, close, breaks up, right? Come back, it's within an engulfing. You can see, in this case, it didn't bother about that whatsoever. It just broke right through. Yes, I admit that. See, I drew it and I'm telling you guys, I admit that. Those are things that can happen, 100%. Okay, so yeah, just wanted to point that out there. So over here, you can refine, you can do what you wish to do, right? What do we have over here? Yeah, okay, so in this case, right, if we were to, let's just say we took a loss at the top or whatever, right? Weekly reject weekly, what did we create as a result? So weekly reject weekly, number one, that's the first thing. Weekly reject weekly. How do we play this? Weekly reject weekly. Number two, daily, which is one time frame below. Listen to me, please. This is very, guys, it took me 6 months. 6 months alone I spent to understand storyline. Nothing else. Just storyline, 6 months. So if you're watching this video today and you're like, oh, come on now. You know what I mean? Come on now, right? So it took me 6 months just to, I remember that. I remember those long 6 months just to understand the storyline. So you can't expect to watch one video and understand it straight away. Look, why is it weekly bullish storyline? I'll answer the question for you. Why weekly bullish storyline? Weekly reject weekly, right? Number two, that's number one. Number two, daily breakout, right? Breakout here, correct? Okay, that's it. that's it. Weekly reject weekly, daily breakout, boom, that's it. Now the question you ask, what was created as a result of the weekly reject weekly and as a result of the daily breakout? What was created? Well, what was created is pretty simple. We have ourselves a weekly OHLC we can play off of. Yes, I know it didn't work out, but we have that we can play off of. And we have the extreme. We have the extreme, right? This little sell buy, which is what? What is sell buy? Support. Correct? That's it. That is it, my friends. Okay? So we have a choice which areas we want to play from. I'm not going to talk about entries too much in this video, but for example, if you wanted to enter this, I'll tell you exactly how you could have. You could have used what? Second video I uploaded. What could you have used for a medium risk entry? Medium to high risk entry. How could you have entered this? Let's assume you want to take this, right? Okay. So fine. Let's just use a rectangle. Let's use a rectangle. This is weekly, correct? Weekly. What we do? Weekly, daily. Daily. What do we have? Daily. We don't have any refinements. We have this open close here, but that's not a refinement of the weekly, is it? That is not a refinement of the weekly. So we have our weekly here. Okay. Can we find any? So this is weekly. Daily is above. It's not a multi-time frame because it's not refined. Okay, fine. We have weekly. Start here, right? I think it's best I use this one. Okay. Weekly. Let me just delete this. You guys know it's not a weekly reject weekly. I don't want to confuse you guys. Even I'm getting confused now. So we have a weekly here. Weekly. There's nothing fresh on the daily here. There's an OHLC above, but that's unrefined. So we don't bother about that. Weekly. Now, we can't just straight away enter from the weekly necessarily. We can if we have other confluences, but it's not the best practice. Let's see, since we don't have daily to our advantage, do we have any H4s? Go to the H4. Oh, damn, we do have ourselves a H4. Okay, place that H4 right here. Okay, so we'll say what? H4 MTF weekly. Okay, so we have weekly above. We have a H4 MTF within. Remember, MTF is either on that line or refined a little bit below that line. Is this a left shoulder? No, it's not a left shoulder. Why? Because this body didn't close below it, right? This is a support. Price comes down and it rejected that support beautifully, right? It's left the wick. So this is support. If price were to break this, the body would close below it, correct? And then break back up again, and then that would become a left shoulder, right? So it will look something like this. I want you guys to really understand this. Excuse me, but instead, we just did this, right? Don't believe me? Look, line chart. See how it just flows up like that? You see what I mean? So there we go. So we have ourselves H4 MTF. Okay, can we refine any more if we really wanted to? Can we? See, maybe we can, right? Okay. No, this is getting a little bit advanced. But anyway, this is the refinement. There is an entry here. You'll wonder how, because this is unfresh like once and twice. But I'll tell you that maybe in another video. But this is what. Just mark this and understand this. H1, MTF, H4, MTF. Okay, it doesn't matter how many MTFs there are. Is there an MTF? Yes, there is. Okay, so you can pick either one. You can wait for certain other things like rejections, etc. We'll talk about that. That's, as I said, a bit more advanced. But this is your weekly line right here. Let's go from top down. That's our weekly line. From the weekly, we have our daily, but our daily is not refined. We ignore that. And our daily over here is already been tested. See, sell, buy, support, already tested. We ignore that. We go H4. Anything on H4? Anything interesting? Yes, sell, buy, fresh H4 support. Okay. Anything we can refine that too. Okay. So over here, we actually have a H1 MTF as well. This is really interesting to see. H1 MTF, H4 MTF weekly. Let's delete this real quick just to pay attention to what I'm trying to show you over here. This right here, H4, right? Remember we saw the H4 sell by? Can we see this? This is a perfectly fresh open close too. Does it really matter? Is it really that significant? We already have H4 in the same place as the weekly. Is it really that significant? No, it's not. But I'm trying to make a point here. Did you notice that? You see? So yeah, sell, sell, open close resistance. Open close resistance gets broken and never visited again, but then it comes back. So that's fresh. Avi, but it broke down. Does not matter. Does not matter because why? We are playing this from the weekly. And again, you're just having your 30 pip stop loss. So if you were to enter from right here, oops. We went down 9.4 pips, 9.6 pips. Let's say we went down 10 pips. Your stop loss is right here. 32, even 30 pips, who cares? 30 pips. Your stop loss is here, right? And yeah, you're trying to target. I'll tell you what you want to target. So anyway, okay. So now, here's the deal. You have to be flexible with this. One time frame below is when you, okay, so you have weekly bullish storyline. One time frame below, you're going to have your entries. One time frame below, you're going to have your obstacles. So now you may be wondering, Avi, if one time frame below you have your entries and your obstacles, why did you just go straight for the weekly? I didn't go straight for the weekly. I'm telling you that there are other options along the way. And this is what I mean by the operation of time frames. Right here, operation of time frames, probably the most powerful video you'll ever see for intermediate traders, right? Operation of time frames shows you how to reduce the risk, because otherwise, right, once we broke up, you could enter from here, you could enter from here, right? You have so many options to enter from. Which one is best, most optimal, right? And even sometimes the most optimal one doesn't play out beautifully, you see? So for now, understand in this video, all I'm trying to teach you in this video is not about these optimal entries. I'm trying to teach you guys how to even identify the start and the potential end. Okay, so the potential end, right? I'm going to be looking for what? Weekly levels where price can do a weekly reject, weekly resistance. This is a, over here, right? What is this? This is a weekly, we'll just write this, weekly reject, weekly support. See, this is support. Why? It was once resistance. Once resistance gets broken, becomes support. Weekly reject, weekly support, daily breakout, right? So what do we have? Weekly reject, weekly, daily breakout. So we can write this down. I love doing this on my whiteboard. Okay, so weekly bullish storyline. I guarantee you guys are not working as hard as I am. That's the thing. Not a lot of people work as hard as I am, and that's why I've achieved this much with SNR. And that's not me bragging. That's me telling you. That's me trying to urge you guys. That's me trying to annoy you guys to work as hard or harder than me. Okay, I have a whiteboard. Okay, it's a stand-up whiteboard from like primary school that I had. I used to take down certain things over there, like my scheduling for class and school when I was really young. I erased all of that and I wrote down every week, I think it was every Sunday or something like that, the entire plan, the entire storyline for the week, etc. So I write weekly bullish storyline. What does that mean for me? So weekly bullish storyline, what does that mean? Look at daily or daily for entries. I'll say something like that. Daily for entries and weekly resistance, or I'll say pay attention to weekly resistance. I'll say something like that. Okay, and that when I'm looking at the charts, because I'll use my last time I had this little Asus laptop that I put on. Now I have this whole desk, etc. But I used to have this Asus laptop, right, that I put down, and my dad got it for me for like my 16th birthday, and I used that to trade. It wasn't much, but it was honest work. And I would put that in my room with my whiteboard there, right? Have a cup of chai or something. I think back then I was drinking more coffee than chai, but it worked, right? And I would do this. Okay, pay attention to weekly resistance for what? For a reversal, things like that, right? And I will have more things I will show you guys in the future. Okay, so here's the deal. Weekly bullish storyline, daily for the entries. Pay attention to the weekly resistance. Why? Because that's where price can potentially turn from. Price can start a new storyline there. So let's just assume, right? I'm just gonna give you a random assumption, okay? Over here, right? Price can do weekly, reject weekly, and then price can do a daily breakout. I doubt that's gonna happen. I think price is gonna go up first, but price can do something like this, or whatever. Boom! Oh, left shoulder, apex, SBR, right? Come back and go down, right? I'm just giving you a random example just for the fun of it, okay? But that's what I'm trying to say. Pay attention to the weekly. I doubt price is gonna stay here. I believe. I mean, I could be wrong, but I believe price should go up. That's what I believe. But yeah, anyway, that's my point. Okay, so here's another bit of a detail. How long are we? 30 minutes? 40 minutes only. Okay, here's another bit of a detail, right? Now, erase everything off. 10 drawings, damn, I'm an artist, call me Van Gogh. Okay, look, here's another thing. Weekly, reject weekly. I want to finish this quick for you guys. It's very important. Weekly, reject weekly. Daily. Okay, when weekly rejects weekly, so we're trying to look for a weekly bearish storyline. Okay, weekly reject weekly. The optimal setup is this. Optimal setup, weekly reject weekly. Daily bearish breakout. Play from daily sell zones. Okay, now this is the preferred setup. Alternative setup is this. This is going to be so exciting for you guys probably. Weekly reject weekly. Now this is fractal. You can do this with dailies as well. Weekly reject weekly. No daily bearish breakout. Ooh, Avi. So there's no way I can enter, right? Wrong. Weekly reject weekly. New daily resistance forms. Just a daily resistance. That's it. That's it. Okay? Play from daily resistance. Now, what does this mean, bro? What? What does this mean? I don't know if I can give you an example here, bro. Because I mean, I have to look for it, right? I have to actively search for that stuff. But this is what I mean by it. Okay. I don't think there. I would have to show you. You know what I mean? I have to actually show you what I'm trying to say. But yeah, because it's going to take some time for me to look for an example actively like that. But this is another thing that can happen. So basically, you know that if we have, look over here, if we have weekly reject weekly, right, daily breakout, okay? But let's assume, right, weekly reject weekly, and all the daily does is just this. So cut out this entire thing. Cut out the fact that it broke anything out here. Cut out all of that. It's just done this. It's just done that. You see what I'm trying to say? So it's something like this. Okay, so let me show you an example of what I'm trying to say here. Okay, this is your weekly, correct? Price comes up, blah 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 blah. Okay, and you know, does something like that. Okay, this is your bullish candle. Price comes back, you know, does something like that. And this is your bearish candle. Damn. This is your bearish candle. Okay. And that's all that forms, meaning there's no breakout of anything. There's just after the rejection. So listen, after the weekly reject weekly on the daily, right? All that is, it's just formed a new resistance. Remember, resistance doesn't mean breakout. Resistance just could mean buy candle, sell candle. Resistance could just mean that. That's how resistance is created, right? Breakout is something different, right? You know, you have a support here and then that support breaks, right? But resistance can literally just be boom, that's it. That could just be resistance. Buy candle, sell candle. Haven't you seen some of that happen before? So look, weekly reject weekly, daily, just a new resistance. That's it. That's it. Just a new resistance. Similarly, daily time frame, daily reject daily, H4 doesn't give you a nice, you know, dailies here, H4, right? So it doesn't give you, you know, doesn't give you a nice thing like this. No, it just sort of, oh man, how do I go back, bro? all it gives you is this. Look, it gives you that buy candle, right, that you're looking for. Oh, buy candle, cool. And then it gives you the sell candle, right? No break of anything, bro. It's just that resistance. Or maybe the sell candle doesn't even look like this. Maybe the sell candle is like this, bro. Look, pay attention. Maybe the sell candle is literally just like that. See how it doesn't even break? It doesn't even break this thing. Doesn't matter how it looks. That's still a resistance, correct? Am I right that that's a resistance? Why? Buy, sell, and it closed, finished. So let's assume then this, let's say we're dealing with a daily, okay? So daily reject daily, right? So let's say this is Tuesday. Let's say this is Tuesday. Okay, so Wednesday, okay, Wednesday, we open here, right? Because open, high, low, close. We open right here. Okay, we open here. And price decides to spike up. Spike up here. This is Wednesday, okay? Mark that up. Okay, price decides to spike up. And then it freaking falls, bro. Freaking falls down. After touching this resistance, this can be your entry, bro. This is another way to enter this. Is this low risk? No, it's not low risk. Is this medium risk? Yes, it's medium to high risk. Why? Why? Hold on. Question is why? Why is it not lower risk, Avi? Because there's no breakout, guys. You're just entering it straight. So this was Monday. Monday maybe touched the zone, maybe missed the zone, but it touched it and it didn't really do any H4 breakout. Tuesday touched the zone. It touched the zone like Monday did, but it didn't create a H4 breakout. It just made a resistance as a result. Wednesday you can come back and touch this. This is your second way of the setup. I love this setup so much, bro. I love this setup so much, bro. Okay, I don't know, maybe this one. I don't even know, bro. Right, look at this one. Right here. Okay, this one didn't touch, no problem. Sell, buy, support, breaks. So we have this one, we have this one. Two zones we're looking at, right? Daily reject daily. Oh, but I think this one broke though, guys. Yeah, it did. You see, we did break it. It did break. See, that's not a great example then for you guys. But just imagine it didn't break. Let's say it just did this. Buy, sell. See, it's not even from the wick. It's the candle after that. Buy, sell. So let's say this whole thing, let's assume this happened on Tuesday. Let's just assume this happened on Tuesday. And let's say this is a part of Wednesday or Thursday or whatever, right? You're going to look at this. Let's say they did this. Ignore the fact that this broke. Let's just say it didn't break, okay? Buy, sell. You're going to look to enter from here on Wednesday. That's what it is, bro. That's what it is. That's your second way of you know what I mean, setting that up. That's your second way of setting that up. You know, so anyway, guys, don't worry, that's not the only time I'll talk about it. I'll talk about it in the future as well. But I hope you guys understood this little trade here. I hope you understand why this is a weekly bullish storyline. We have this resistance from the open close gets broken, becomes a support in the future. Weekly rejects that weekly support, right? We're dealing with weekly reject weekly. After the weekly reject weekly, we want to wait. We want to look for a daily breakout to confirm a weekly bullish storyline. Okay, and after that, we're looking at certain time frames. We look at the daily, right? We're looking at weekly, right? Looking at weeklies, dailies, big time frames like that. In this case, we have the weekly multi time frame with the H4, H1, things like that, bro. Okay, so again, I hope you guys understood this. You know, weekly reject weekly, right? You can see over here, right? Weekly reject weekly, sell. All it did was a sell buy. So let's assume right here, this is just a hypothetical. Sell, buy. Let's assume that, sell buy, right? So weekly reject weekly, and then, okay, so let's say week 1 was like this, weekly reject weekly. So week 2, on Monday, you're looking at week 1 and you're like, oh, previous week closed like this. Weekly reject weekly. You go down to a daily, it goes sell, buy. It never broke any structure. See, it's meant to break this, right? Never broke. It just created that. And then she touches and goes. This didn't actually happen, but let's just assume that